What's up, guys? So I just spent about 5 days at Breathless Riviera, Cancun, and overall, I'd say it was a pretty solid resort experience with a few things that really stood out, both good and bad. So right off the bat, one of the biggest positives for me was just how clean and high quality everything felt. The resort itself just looked really well maintained, and the pool areas especially stood out. The water, the layout, everything just felt like it was, kept at a good standard. But that being said, there's only two main pools you really get access to, and honestly, that was a bit limiting. It's not bad or anything, but it's like if you're someone who's like me that likes variety and moving between different pool vibes, like you'll notice it pretty quickly. Now, one thing I actually liked and I didn't expect to like as much was how compact the resort is. Everything is super close, like your room, the pool, restaurants, bars, it's just all like a short walk away. And on paper that sounds amazing, and it is convenient, like you can go from your room to the bar in like 1 minute. But at the same time, I did kind of miss that big resort feel where you're like walking through different areas and it feels like you're exploring something bigger. Like, it's a trade-off. Super convenient, but a bit tight. And food-wise, I'd say it's pretty solid overall. I'd probably give it like a 7 to 8 out of 10, just being a bit strict because some meals were honestly really good, especially at the Italian restaurant, and the poolside bar food actually surprised me. It was really good. But true say, I didn't even try every restaurant still, so I can't speak on everything, but overall it's definitely above average. And I've seen a lot of other people say the same thing, like the pool food sometimes ends up being better than certain dinner spots. Another big win was how smooth everything was travel-wise. Flying with Air Transat and coming back into Canada was way easier than I expected. I thought the airport process would have been stressful, but it was actually super smooth both ways. The gym was also a nice bonus. I used it a few times during the trip just to stay active, and it was honestly like it had everything I needed. Nothing crazy, but enough to get solid workouts in. Now the beach, this is where things get a little bit mixed, okay? The actual view in the water were beautiful, but there was a lot of seaweed. Like honestly, like the smell was the main issue still. Like it really stank. There was also those sand barriers or whatever in the water, and while I get why they're there, it made the beach feel a bit restricted. And on top of that, the water depth really just changes randomly. So one second you're in shallow water and the next you're stepping into a deeper drop. And one thing I didn't love was the nightlife timing. Everything kind of ends early. The club is fun and the energy is good, but once it hits around 1 a.m., everything shuts down. And I'm more of a night person, so I feel like even if they just extended things to like 2 a.m. or having a 24-hour bar would completely change the vibe. Also, room service was decent too, pretty fast when ordering, but a bit slower when it came to picking up the trays. I did like that they use a cubby system though, so they don't actually come into your room every single time. There were also a few personal takeaways for me, like packing mistakes. Simple stuff like not bringing the right socks or outfits actually mattered more than I expected, especially when it came to photos. We also did an excursion off the resort, which was cool, and it let us see some more of the area, but it did feel a bit rushed and very sales heavy in some spots. And honestly, I think my biggest takeaway is that the resort is really strong for convenience, social energy, and overall comfort, but it's not perfect, but it kind of balances itself out. Like, the things that are negatives for one person might actually be positives for someone else. Even the small layout, everything being close together, ended up making it way more social. I met people, talked more, and I just interacted more than I usually would on a trip like this. There's also a 24-hour cafe on site, which was a huge plus, like snack, desserts, ice cream. It just, saved that late night hunger situation completely. Overall, I'd honestly go again. It's not a perfect resort, but it really is like a solid experience if you like something social, easy to navigate, and pretty well rounded. And yeah, that was my time at Breathless Riviera Cancun. Thank you for watching.